believe that you did the things they say you did.
If I did, then I wasn't arrested. I was rescued.
The truth of a confession is immaterial. What is of crucial importance is how the confession was obtained. I'm suggesting Gibson deliberately provoked him.
How are we to know she was that desperate?
Well, now you can add attempted murder to her list of charges.
Are you Sean Haley?
Yes.
Will you give this to Paul for me?
Well, Paul Spector is due to be moved today. The next stage of his assessments are about to begin.
Mr. Spector, I'm August Larsson, the lead clinician here.
I need you to go to London. I don't think we can afford to dismiss the connection between David Alvarez and Paul Spector.
We've had a request to disclose your dream diary.
He's in hospital. He's incapacitated. And yet he's still infecting the lives of every person he comes into contact with.
If a person is able to do to others what he feels may be done to him, he may no longer be afraid.
Doctor, I understand that for you he's a patient. Someone worthy of understanding, compassion even. But to me, he's a sexual predator.
I'm Mark Bailey. Who are you?
I told him the Belfast Strangler. Detective Superintendent Gibson.
Dr. Larson, what can I do for you?
Mr. Spector's defense team have sent me some excerpts from your diary. The pages where it is alleged Mr. Spector made an entry.
I see.
I sense your discomfort. I have no doubt, after seeing the entry he made, knowing that he'd read your journal felt like a violation.
Yes.
May I ask you, how long have you kept a diary?
All of my life. But not really since I've been in Belfast.
I don't follow.
What Spector wrote in was more of a dream journal.
Why do you keep a dream journal?
What do you want to know?
Curiosity, probably.
Initially, I kept it as an investigative tool. I trained myself to wake up in the middle of the night and write down random thoughts. And I guess since then it's become a compulsion of sorts.
So you see dreams as a kind of problem solving.
I think maybe the sleeping brain makes connections more quickly than the waking mind does.
That is certainly possible. I would treat the entries with respect.
Thank you. Good night, Dr. Larson.
Good night. Paul Spector, a 32-year-old right-handed male, referred from the criminal justice system for appraisal with regard to his fitness to plead and stand trial. The charge sheet gives you an idea of the alleged crimes. Shot in police custody, he underwent a splenectomy, so we should be mindful of his post-operative condition and ongoing medical needs. In hospital, after regaining consciousness, he presented with severe retrograde amnesia in the absence of significant anterograde amnesia. I'm told Paul Spector never knew his biological father. His mother, Mary Garrison, committed suicide when he was 8 years old. She hanged herself. After a period of 2 years in a foster home, that appears to have been a stable and safe environment. He was transferred to Gordon House. He was there for 3 years. At 13, he was sent to another home in the south, Dundalk, County Louth. Apart from a very agitated first wake-up and a violent emotional response to being presented with some of the evidence against him, the hospital reports him having been docile, cooperative, friendly even. It is also very possible he is someone who acts out in a dangerous and illegal manner. The police officer, Detective Superintendent Gibson, who at this stage might well be the person who knows him best, suggests he has a narcissistic, sadistic personality. With regard to his memory loss, he could be feigning, exaggerating, or simply malingering. So I suggest we approach Mr. Spector with respectful skepticism.
Daily structure is 8 to 9 breakfast, 9 to 10 self-care tasks, washing, dressing, laundry, bed making. 10 to 12 is therapy or 45-minute activity, art, music, whatever. 12 to 2 is lunch and rest period. 2 to 4 is therapy or further activity. Life skills, relaxation, self-awareness, cooking. 5 to 6:30 is dinner and rest. And 6:30 to 9:30 is leisure. Pool, watching a movie. Back in your room at 9:30, lights out at 10. Dr. Larson will see you later this morning. Collect your breakfast there.
All right, wee fry, just a wee one. You right, man?
I have a copy of the letter you asked for.
Thanks.
I probably shouldn't write this letter to you, but this is hard evidence to you that I exist. Exist for you, Paul. I can feel you all over me, like that night in your study. I feel you crawling through my veins, through my mind. You grab and suffocate my thoughts. I am in pain for your pleasure. I have forsaken my friends. I've forsaken my family. I'm choosing my next move carefully. Their love is fake. Fuck everyone who wants me to step into the light. It'll burn my skin off. The skin that I will carve our poetry into so you'll be with me forever. I yearn for you when I stare into the starless midnight. You are the vast expanse of the sky. I don't regret a thing because the pain is all for you. I will still love you when I finally know everything about you. That's true love. I fucking hate this. I hate being without you. I would kill them all if I could. Crush them and their pathetic lives.
Ma'am, my client accepts that she has breached her bail conditions. Her attempts to contact Mr. Spector, the fact that she stayed away from her home address, breaching her curfew. But there are mitigating factors, ma'am, that I would like to draw your attention to. The defendant lost her father when she was age 13 in a motorcycle accident. A shockingly violent accident. She's now just 16 years old, and the best place for her to be at this difficult time is at home. Her mother, who is present today in court, is prepared to stand surety. I've checked with the police, and they are happy as to the source of the monies offered by Mrs. Benedetto to support the suretyship, namely savings which she has accumulated.
Mr. McSween, let me just stop you there. Now, your client is not just in breach of her bail conditions. And she is alleged by the prosecution to have committed another very serious offence. Throwing a corrosive fluid with intent to harm. Had it not been for the quick thinking of a friend who irrigated her eyes with a drink, the victim might well have lost her sight. Now, I feel I have no choice, therefore, other than to remand her to the Sea Park Juvenile Justice Centre in Bangor. There she will be appointed a case manager and a key worker who can assess her needs. She will be able to attend school also, if she so wishes.
I don't care what you do, or what you think, or say. The only one who's honest is Paul. He's the only person I choose to listen to. The only person who sees this world for what it really is. Full of sheep like you being fattened for slaughter. Pigs waiting for the butcher.
You have a lawyer to look after your interests. Any issues you may have, you address them through him.
Fuck you. Fuck you all.
Security, please.
You requested all the Susan Harper files?
That's right.
This is everything that we have.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. We lodge civil proceedings and make an abusive process application.
Adverse publicity?
Yeah, that certainly, but also police misconduct. Specifically, Detective Superintendent Gibson. I want you to draw together all the strands of police and prosecution behaviour that has been questionable.
Starting with the stage-managed arrest?
Or before that. From the point the investigation assumed his guilt and focused on him and him alone. Stage managing the arrest. The additional sexual oppression, the failure to bring him to court promptly once he was charged, all of it. A vendetta from the start against our client.
Do you think that adds up to misconduct of sufficient gravity to warrant a stay?
Maybe not, but it will certainly cause a delay. We need more than just issues of competency to work with. The abuse of process application more than adds up. Now, you suspect that Gibson had a previous relationship with Burns? It seems she has also had liaisons with other colleagues. Spector was in the hotel room when Burns was there with Gibson. Let's assume, therefore, that Spector had knowledge of that relationship. He also had access to her dream diary, which gave him insights into her other liaisons. What if the damage this could cause Stella Gibson's career was a possible motive for her failure to protect him in the forest? Spector's whereabouts were leaked by a detention officer within the custody suite. What if Gibson was in on that leak? What if Spector's life was deliberately put at risk by Gibson through police misconduct? Everyone knew Tyler was out there with a loaded gun and a clearly stated aim to find and kill Spector. And she let it happen. Let's make her pay.
Do you have your own room key?
No.
I do. I'm allowed to feed the fish in the aquarium. I used to help with serving the meals, but I gave larger portions to people I liked, so I'm not allowed to do that anymore. I have work today, so...
I don't think there was any criminal intent. She approached you, she invited you back to her place. I'm not saying she was asking for it necessarily, but we've all been there. Too much to drink. One thing leads to another, things get out of hand. We're used to dealing with these sorts of offences. We understand how these things can happen.
What officer is that talking?
This is Reese. What did she do to anger you, David? Did she insult you? What made it turn nasty? Was she still dressed when you had sex with her? Alvarez, maybe. She wasn't, was she? She was naked. Did she ask you to tie her up? David, was she into bondage? Tell us how you killed her. I strangled her. How did you strangle her? With my belt. You see, David, if you say that, you're not helping me. You didn't use your belt, did you? No. What did you use? Come on, David, think about what you used. Hathaway, you'd taken your clothes off, David. You were naked, weren't you? Yes. So what did you use to strangle her? Just my hands, just my bare hands. There were no strangulation marks on her neck, David, none. Were there any pillows on the bed, David? I smothered her. I took a pillow and put it over her face and smothered her. I mean, Jesus, there's leading the witness and they're shoving words down his throat. Why weren't Alvarez's defense all over this?
I'm afraid the typical relationship between a psychiatrist and patient, where everything that is said in this room is confidential, does not apply. Anything you tell me can be put in the report. Because it is the court that has asked me to conduct the evaluation, you don't have the right to refuse to participate. Even if you, for example, choose not to answer my questions, I will still need to provide the written report that will be sent to the court and made available to your lawyer. If the judge orders a hearing on the issue of your competency, I might be called to testify in court. Do you understand?
Yes, I do. I will answer your questions.
Good. That's good.
Tom, have a look at this. This was a key part of the prosecution's case. That's the victim, Susan Harper, and that's David Alvarez leaving the nightclub together. Who's that, do you think?
Do you understand the police's version of events? The severity of the charges?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember making a confession?
No.
Can you provide a reasonable account of your behavior around the time of the various alleged offenses?
No.
Or your state of mind?
No.
Do you think you could manage your emotions and behavior in a courtroom?
I think I could, yes.
Do you think you would be able to keep track of events as they unfolded?
Yes.
Would you be able to challenge witnesses? That is, to recognize distortions in witness testimony?
No, I wouldn't be able to do that. Not unless my memory returned.
Do you understand the sentence that could be imposed on you if you are found guilty?
I would spend the rest of my life in prison. Will my memory return, Doctor?
Do you want it?
I might have something significant, man. A Peter Baldwin working as a waiter in a Caribbean restaurant called the Plantain Garden. And the restaurant went bust, closed in 2008, but the owner still has his paperwork. He had reason to give Peter Baldwin a warning, a reprimand that stayed on file. It's dated Saturday, August the 17th, 2002. The day before the Harper murder.
Why was he reprimanded?
An argument with a customer that turned nasty. Came to blows.
And the owner positively identified Spectre.
I sent him all the photographs we have on file. He seems pretty certain. The restaurant was in Southwest 9.
Susan Harper's flat was in Southwest 16. That's Brixton and Stratham. Both in Lambeth.
I will. Thanks for letting us know. The police say they have fresh evidence to put to Spectre.
What sort of evidence?
Forensic, documentary. Apparently they found a lockup rented by Spectre. They want to interview him about the contents.
Oh, fuck. I need to see proof of that and all the information that was placed before the judge to get those warrants. Get back to the PPS first thing in the morning. I want full disclosure. Oh, also, contact the foil. See if Larson thinks Spectre's fit to be interviewed. Fuck!
It could be Spectre.
Rose Stagg put Spectre in London at the right time.
22 years old, clean shaven. It's hard to tell.
No, it's not. That's him. I know it's him.
Well, we couldn't quite believe the interrogation tactics. Classic old school interview. Trickery, deceit, psychological manipulation. Alvarez thought he'd be able to go home after confessing, and it seems he fell for it all. For some reason, he seemed eager to please. I've no idea why the defense team weren't all over it.
All the evidence was pretty strong. I mean, the only other fingerprints found at her flat were Alvarez's, and the only DNA recovered from her body was his.
True. But when it comes to the actual murder, they had to lead him by the nose to get him to where they wanted him to be. He really seemed to lack detailed knowledge.
I have a good feeling about this. I can smell Spectre's involvement. And when do you see Alvarez?
In the morning?
Call me with any developments. Good night.
Good night.
We can order things off the nurses. They go shopping twice a week. You just give them the money and they'll get you the things you want.
I don't have any money.
Oh.
are you in this place? Don't tell me if you don't want to.
Twisted my sister's arm. Twisted it so far around it broke.
Why'd you do that?
Had a haircut. It gave me a new personality, made me more feminine. Thought it was turning homosexual. When I came home, my sister said I looked gay, so I twisted her arm. She was screaming and it didn't stop. Then it snapped. And I suppose I panicked.
How old was she?
Younger than me.
How much younger?
Quite a lot younger.
What's your diagnosis?
A psychotic with convulsive disorder. They say I had childhood schizophrenia. I thought there were hidden messages in the colors of cars passing on the street. I started communicating with car sounds, and then the sounds turned into voices.
What kind of voices?
Like people, but just out of hearing. When I'm bad, I see faces in the mirror. The risperidone helps.
How long have you been in this place?
5 years. I was on the news, but not like you.
It's time to go to your room now, Paul.
Twelve's the answer to your question.
What?
Mark Bailey's sister. 12 years old. And he left out the best bit. After he broke his sister's arm, he raped her and carried her into the street, threw her into a passing bin lorry that crushed her to death. The dregs of humanity. Sweet dreams.
Anderson?
It's Assistant Chief Constable Burns.
Good evening, sir.
I understand you're seeing Alvarez tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
I thought I might tell you something about Gordon Nicole that might be useful.
Thank you, sir.
I remember when I arrived there being struck by how grand looking it was. Lovely gardens, outside pool, views over Belfast Lough. Apparently, so much more than the boys would have been used to at home in Belfast. Just off the entrance hall, there was a large dining room. All the boys we interviewed told of how they were taken there every day and made to masturbate to entertain the staff members. Masturbate themselves. Masturbate members of staff. We did fluorescence tests on the carpet. It was covered in stains. If David Alvarez was there at the same time as Paul Spector, as Peter Baldwin, he would know about that. He would remember that dining room. That was all. That was all.
I just took a call from the DPP, man. It seems that Sean Healy has lodged a complaint against you with the police ombudsman.
I see.
Also, an abusive process application.
You better give me the details.
This is my client, David Alvarez. David, this is Detective Sergeant Tom Anderson and PC Danny Farrington.
Well, thanks very much for talking to us, David.
I haven't yet.
Do you understand that it's in connection with your conviction for murder?
Fraser's explained, yes.
But I wonder, do you recognize this man? And for the purposes of the tape, I'm showing David a picture of a male individual.
I do, yes.
What name do you know him by?
Peter Baldwin.
How do you know Peter Baldwin?
We were at Gorton Cole House together.
When was that?
I was there from 1990 to 1994. I'm a year younger than him.
Right. And when was the last time that you saw Peter Baldwin?
In 2002.
Where was that?
In London.
And what were the circumstances of that meeting? Was he there at your invitation?
No, we met by chance. The last time I seen him was at Gorton Cole when I was 12. At Gorton Cole with Father Jensen.
Perhaps we can talk about the period in your life before you were first incarcerated, when you compiled your own map of Dundalk.
What do you want to know?
When did that behavior begin for you?
What behavior?
The voyeurism.
Around that age, 13 or so.
What were you seeking, do you think, in behaving in that way?
Relief.
From?
Boredom. Loneliness. It was exciting that they were unsuspecting, unaware.
Because of the possibility of seeing someone naked, or disrobing, or engaging in sexual activity.
No, not just that.
Then what?
Seeing in the homes. Real homes. Comfortable. Warm. A glimpse into lives being led. Full lives. I'd imagine myself in those homes. As part of those lives at the dinner table. Watching television with the fire on.
How did it make you feel, being on the outside looking in?
Lonely.
Angry? When did you start breaking in?
When I built up the courage.
How did you do that?
I'd get closer to them.
How?
I'd telephone them. Deliver their newspapers. Ride with them on the bus. Once I even carried a woman shopping home for her.
Were the break-ins spontaneous, or did you plan?
I made extensive, elaborate plans. I discovered that it was easy. For the most part, people feel safe. They forget to turn the alarm on, leave windows open, patio doors. I didn't want anyone to feel safe. Why should they have that luxury?
We just hung out. We drank, we took drugs.
What sort of drugs?
Coke, man.
Where was this?
In Brixton. We shared a flat in Brixton called Harbour Lane.
Were you with Paul Spector, Peter Baldwin, on the night that Susan Harper died, David? We think you were.
I'm producing a laptop showing CCTV footage of exhibit NS1. Taken from Edenvale Road, London, Southwest 9 on Sunday, the 18th of August, 2002 at 1:45 a.m. We think that's Paul Spector leaving the club with you and Susan on the night that she died.
So your interest in voyeurism gave way to desire to break into the observed space, to violate those individuals in a more intimate way.
You're thinking that voyeurism was a precursor to more aggressive sexual deviances?
No, I'm just trying to understand the progression of your criminality.
I thought I'd put it all behind me. When I married Shelly Ann, when Olivia was born, thought it was all in the past. Troubles of my youth. But now I'm being told that it was the opposite. Like an addict, I'd gone from bad to worse.
In my view, those distortions originate from a variety of places in childhood. Childhood victimization, faulty family relationships, general psychological distress. They are not so easily dealt with. Not without help. They are not so easily cast aside.
Did you confess because you felt guilty about the offense?
Maybe. Maybe, yes.
Or to protect someone? As you see, David, when I look at this interview, I can see you've no idea how the murder took place. You don't even know if there was a murder. I can see that you were led and prompted by the detectives in a shameful and unprofessional manner.
It's time to tell the truth, David.
I have here the transcript of that interview dated the 22nd of August 2002. Reese, why was there a washing up bowl by the bed, David? What? A plastic washing up bowl. I don't know. What colour was that bowl? Blue? Were you cleaning up the scene, washing your hands? What? I was stoned. Oh, so now you were stoned. I'd been drinking. So what colour was the bowl? Grey? Green? Brown? Green, David, yes. I think I know why that bowl was there. And it relates to the modus operandi of Paul Spector, Peter Baldwin.
Are you sure he killed all those girls?
Yes, we are. Why are you protecting him, David?
No one has any idea how bad Gordon Cole House was. Only those that were there.
I have some idea.
No, you fucking don't.
Then tell me. Tell me, David. Tell me about the dining room. About the morning assemblies.
How do you know about that?
It's one of my colleagues was the arresting officer. He put Jansen and several others in prison. And they did forensic tests there. And they found the carpet in that room covered in semen stains. David, is that something that happened to you? Did you have to masturbate in front of other boys' staff?
Everyone did.
Peter Baldwin?
I said everyone did. Me, pretty boy. Everyone did at one time or another.
Pretty boy?
Jansen's name.
For Spector.
For Baldwin, Spector, whatever. Jansen always had a favorite. A boy of about 12 or 13 years of age that he would single out for his special attentions. And the tradition was that when he was leaving, this special boy had to nominate his successor. So Jansen and Baldwin came to our dormitory one night. Peter was due to leave, and Jansen made Peter choose. And he could have chose me. He looked straight at me. Straight at me. Jansen looked straight at me. And I knew Jansen wanted me. I felt it. But Peter walked straight past me and chose another boy. I don't know who, some poor fuck. I didn't look, I didn't even care. Just as long as it wasn't me. Just as long as it wasn't me. Being Jansen's favorite was the worst thing. The worst thing you can imagine.
David? Are you certain that Baldwin, Paul Spector, was Jansen's favorite?
For a full year. Every night and every day for a full year.
Do you know why your mother took her own life?
Because my love wasn't enough for her. Enough to keep her alive. Whenever I was ill as a child, she'd take me into her bed and care for me. And Baldwin would sleep in mine. And when he left, she was so sad that I slept in there with her every night. Just me and her in the world. And the car lights would sweep across the ceiling. And I'd imagine that we were on a raft together, drifting in the water. Just me and her, and the world, but we had each other. Still remember her smell of her clothes. On my 8th birthday, after he'd left, she told me that he wasn't my father. That my real father, unreal father, was a British soldier who was gone before I was born. That was her birthday gift to me. 10 days later, she was dead.
Were you the one to find her?
It was a school day. She wasn't there at the gate to pick me up, so I walked home, rang the doorbell. There's no answer. But there's a key under the mat, so I let myself in. I shouted out. There's no reply. Radio was on. Looked around. Went upstairs. Pushed against her bedroom. There's a thump against the door. So I pushed more until I got in. And she was on the back of the door. Belts around her neck. I shouted at her, but there was no response. I didn't know if she was dead or alive. I called 999. Ambulance men came. They told me to wait in my room. I looked out the window and I remember this red blanket that they used to cover her when they wheeled her out. And all that day, people came and went, and nobody told me what had happened. And later, someone said that she'd gone to a better place. I suppose I knew she was dead, but there's a part of me that thought maybe she was alive, living elsewhere, in a better place because I wasn't there. The last memory I have of her, she was very angry with me. Angry for something I'd done. Don't know what.
You know you worked on a suicide helpline for some years.
No.
You did. And of course, as a bereavement counselor. Why were you drawn to that line of work, do you think?
Something morbid in me, I suppose. After my mother died, I had this recurring dream. I was lying in a coffin, and I was cut up into small chunks. But there was a nerve that ran through every piece. It was connected to my brain.
That sounds very frightening.
Why would he take the blame, David Alvarez? Why would he do that, Inspector?
Beyond the debt of gratitude. It's clear he felt guilty. He was part of it after all. He wrote long, rambling letters of apology to Susan Harper's parents from prison. In his interviews, he seemed very vulnerable. suggestible. I guess he's toughened up in prison, but I wonder if he didn't get off on it in some way at the time. He seemed very flattered by the detectives' boys will be boys bullshit, and suddenly he was the centre of attention, a kind of celebrity.
Have you spoken to Chris George? Is he going to want the Met Officer to sit in on any further interviews regarding the Harper murder?
He's happy for you to represent the Met, and he said he'll back us if we reopen the Alvarez investigation.
Oh, that's great news. We're seeing Spectre tomorrow to put the new evidence from the lockup to him. When are you back?
First thing, I'll go straight to the serious crime suite.
Good work, Tom.
Let's hope so.
This interview is being recorded at the Down Serious Crime Suite. The date is the 16th of May 2012, and the time by my watch is 1400 hours. I'm Detective Sergeant Anderson, and the other police officer present is Detective Superintendent Gibson. Can you please state your full name and date of birth?
Peter Paul Spector, 25th of May, 1979.
And also present is...
Sean Healy, solicitor.
And at the conclusion of the interview, I'll give a notice of how you can obtain a copy of the tapes. You do not have to say anything, but I must caution you, if you do not mention when questioned something you later rely on in court, it may harm your defence. If you do say anything, it may be given in evidence. Do you understand the caution? Yes. We have reason to believe that you rented a lockup as a storage unit in the name of Peter Baldwin. I'm showing a lease agreement for that lockup. Is that your signature in the document? The benefit of the tape, Paul Spector has declined to answer the question. In that lockup, along with the car we believe you stole, we found a number of items that we'd like you to account for. We believe that these documents, these diaries or journals, are your work. I'm showing Exhibit ME369, which is a journal, and also copy of the contents of the journal. Now, are you able to identify the subject of this journal, a woman with the initials R.W.?
No, this is pointless. My client is undergoing assessment because he is suffering retrograde amnesia, which covers all autobiographical memory for a period of 6 years or so.
Then perhaps you recognize this man. I'm showing a photograph of a male person.
What's this?
We believe he was with you in Gortnacall Children's Home and that you met him again in 2002 in London, which is a period that falls outside the time frame of your purported amnesia.
Oh, what has this got to do with the contents of the lockup? Before my client answers, could you please explain the relevance of this photograph?
This man is at present serving a life sentence for a murder committed in 2002.
Yeah, but then I'm sorry, but it falls outside the scope of this interview.
The murder of this woman. I'm showing a photograph of the female victim. PCI Eastwood has just entered the room at 14:03 hours.
Paul Spector, I am further arresting you for the murder of Susan Harper at flat 16 Thornton Rise, SW163CV, on the 18th of the 8th, 2002. I must remind you that you are still under caution.
I insist this interview be suspended. I must take instruction from Mr. Spector.
Do you recognize this man? Do you know his name?
David Alvarez.
This interview stops now.
The interview has been suspended at 14:04, 100 hours, so the Paul Spector can consult with his solicitor.
Who the fuck is David Alvarez?
Just as they've said. Someone I knew when I was a child and then again in London in 2002.
A convicted murderer?
Yes.
What is going on?
The police have been clever. They have something on me that I can actually remember.